Good evening and welcome to Athens City Council. It's Monday, May 5th, 2025 at 7:01 p.m. and we are in regular session this evening. I'd like to start by acknowledging that here in Athens County we live and work on land initially settled and developed by earlier people, particularly the Shawnee and the Osage, and those identified through cultures commonly known as the Adena, Hopewell, and Fort Ancient. This acknowledgement reminds us of the importance of honoring history, people, and the planet as we work to improve our city's legacy. Our first order of business tonight is to establish quorum. 5 of 7 council members are present, and we have quorum. The next item of business is disposition of the minutes. One moment. From the special session held April 14th, 2025. May I have a motion to approve these minutes?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from April 14th, 2025. Are there any comments or questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Those minutes are approved. May I have a motion to approve the minutes from April 21st, 2025?
So moved. Seconded.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from April 21st, 2025. Are there any comments or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The minutes from April 21st are approved. We now have communications. Do any council members have communications they'd like to share? Member Swank.
One for Jeff, one for you. And if you'd pass these down, one to Lisa and one to the mayor, please. As most of you know, I spent 40 years in the school business in one form or another, and probably been in close to 1,500 schools across the country. So I'm constantly in contact with people in the school business. I received an email from the CFO of the Athens City School District just a couple days ago concerning House Bill 96. And what you have in front of you, and I will send this to all the other members of council electronically through President Crowell. What you have in front of you is a memorandum from the Buckeye Association of School Administrators. And what it deals with is House Bill 96. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but the thing that, and this is the reason that Jared Bunning, CFO of the City School District, sent it to me, is when you get down to number 3, what impact will House Bill 96 have on public infrastructure investment? The last sentence, essentially, HB 96 imposes school district operating policies on counties, municipalities, and townships that use TIF financing to plan for and internalize. I really don't know what this means, and that's why I gave a copy to the mayor and the law director, the chair of the finance committee, and the president of council to review this, because if this requires some action of this council in forms of a resolution supporting or against this bill, I wanted to get in the hands of the people who probably have a lot more knowledge about this than I do. But I just got this from CFO Bunning, and reading through this twice now, didn't particularly like what I saw. But what else is new in Columbus? So anyway, that's the communication I would like to share with members of council and the other elected officials in the room this evening.
Thank you, Member Swank. Yes, Member Spianos.
Yes, I just wanted to spend a couple of minutes doing some kudos to the city and to the West Side Community Association for the wonderful cleanup that they did on the West Side. It wasn't in the papers, which surprised me a little bit, those of you who are in the press. So I thought I'd give a little recap. And Ryan, there were some pictures, if you were able to get those up and show them. Okay, as you can see here, we have a lot of trash. You can't see it as well if you're not close up, but there were a number of different areas that people had left their trash along the bike path in the recreation area. So we got materials. Ed Newman was the one who really spearheaded this thing. So there's a couple parts to this. So I will start with that. Anyway, there's that one, and if you wouldn't mind showing one or sliding to the others if you've got them, that'd be great. but you get the idea. This is along the bike path on the west side. And yeah, this one had a fire, as you can see. By the way, I was there for a couple hours. I must confess that I helped a little bit, but I wasn't there the whole time. I thought I'd let that be handled by those in their 20s and 30s. But in any case, we picked up a lot in just a couple hours that I was there, and they were there for about 4 hours that day and another 4 hours another day on that following Thursday. They cleaned up 16 different sites, not all of them looking as nasty as this one, all volunteers, and Ed just went ahead and did it. And I really give him kudos for that. So, but again, a number of other people were involved with that too. Rural Action was involved, and the Solid Waste District, we got supplies from the land bank and from the city, because of course you need to make sure you're careful. We did find needles there, unfortunately, so we had to be very careful. And it was quite a success. So that happened on the 12th, in part because, as you recall, the city was nice enough to make an arrangement with Rumpke that they would pick up your extra trash bags, but so we were trying to get a whole bunch of cleanup stuff. So anyway, that was happening, and I'm really happy about that. The other piece of that, and I wish I had more time because it was very cool, but the other piece of that is that the West Side Community Association with Kathy Hecht, whom you all know, and Amy Lipka, and another candidate for the West Side, my seat actually, Megan Almeida, they all organized to encourage the homeowners on the west side to do an interior and exterior cleanup, and got them bags and things like that, again, so they could take advantage of it. And then afterwards, to try to get a real start towards making a more unified community spirit on the west side. And so they went to the cider house afterwards and had a few beverages. So anyway, I just thought that would be a nice light entry to this conversation, and I wanted to make sure that they got some credit for all that. And another reason I wanted to mention is we tried to mention it to other neighborhoods around the community, and they did not choose to do that. And I'm hoping maybe next year we can get more associations and whatnot to take their lead. So anyway, and also I'd like to just make mention that there are one particular landlord on the west side who has not cleaned up his trash, and we weren't able to do that. So I want to make sure that the landlords also clean up their stuff all over town. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Member Spielness. Any other communications from council members? Moving on to elected officials. Law Director Eliason? No. Mayor Patterson?
I have a big kudo for Councilmember Swank. Thank you for bringing this forward. I mean, I took a little bit deeper peruse just now, speed reading, of course. And number 3, 4, and 5. 5 in particular speaks to gap that can be produced by this with any TIF, tax increment financing, especially if it is associated with bond financing, to where you're with a bond, you're trying to plan forward in time. It's like, okay, we're expecting X amount of revenue to be coming in year after year after year to make sure that we're able to meet our financial commitment with whatever bond. If there is if you do have to have a bond for some project, whatever that is, this disrupts that. And people are going to have to figure out, if you have an existing bond, we do not, as it pertains to this, but I appreciate you bringing this to my attention. I will certainly elevate this to the Ohio Municipal League. I think because of the nuance in this bill, that I don't know how much OML is possibly tracking that right now. So this is certainly interesting, not unexpected with the state of affairs that we've been experiencing over the past year plus. Thank you for sharing.
Okay, normally at this time we move on to ordinances for third reading. However, we have no ordinances for third reading, so we go right into ordinances for second reading. And I will read the title and the introducing council member and see if there are any comments before moving on to ordinances for first reading. Ordinance 43-25 is an ordinance amending the 2025 appropriation ordinance 115-24, introduced by Councilmember Reisner. Ordinance 44-24 is an ordinance amending Ordinance 121-24, authorizing 2025 staffing levels, introduced by the Finance and Personnel Committee. Ordinance 45-25 is an ordinance amending Ordinance 116-24, 2025 non-union compensation, authorized pay grades in the Recreation and Community Center, introduced by the Finance and Personnel Committee. Ordinance 46-25 is an ordinance amending Section 7, Educational Requirements of Ordinance 117-24, the 2025 Fringe Benefits Package for non-union personnel within the City of Athens, introduced by the Finance and Personnel Committee. Ordinance 49-25 is an ordinance closing East Union Street between Court and University Terrace on Thursday, June 19, 2025, from 1 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. for the community Juneteenth celebration, introduced by Councilmember Spielness. Ordinance 50-25 is an ordinance suspending the enforcement of Athens City Code, Chapter 11.04, vending, peddling, and soliciting, to allow vending in a designated area during the community Juneteenth celebration, introduced by Councilmember Spielness. Ordinance 51-25 is an ordinance requesting the law director to file a civil lawsuit for injunctive relief for the unauthorized use of the City of Athens right-of-way at 37 and 37.5 Woodward Avenue, introduced by Councilmember Swank. Member Swank?
Mr. President, we need to amend Section 1 of this. It currently reads, Athens City Council does hereby request the city law director to file a lawsuit for injunctive relief against Cameron Tope / Emerson Property Management, LLC. We need to change that. Law Director Eliason, do we leave Cameron Tope in, or do we, no? So we need to change that then to read, for injunctive relief against Do What Is Right, comma, LLC. I would move that we amend 5125 as I just stated.
Seconded.
We have a motion and a second to amend 51-25 as stated by Member Swank. Are there any comments or questions on this amendment? City Administration? Members of the public? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ordinance has been amended, Member Swank. Member Swank.
Mr. President, late last week, I received an email from Mr. Tope about this particular ordinance and the action that might happen going forward, and he wanted to talk by phone about it. So he called me today from his home in San Diego. Mr. Tope is actually an Athenian, a 2009 graduate of Athens High School, and then a graduate of Marietta College. We had a very productive conversation on the phone today, and I suggested to him the following, that we're really not looking to take anybody to court over this, but we as a council found it appropriate, and I think supported by the administration, that enough was enough, and that he just happened to be the wrong guy at the wrong time for us to draw the line in the sand as to what is the proper process for getting variances and the like. He understood that, he apologized, and he said, what can we do about it? So my suggestion to him was to simply, with the guidance of the code office, once the right-of-way line is defined, is to remove the pavers that have been placed in the right-of-way. I suggested, and we'll need to check this with code, that the curb remain, because the curb is very well done and it further deflects water in a continuous pattern down the hill as the rest of the curb, so it's very appropriate to be there. And then to return that area where the bricks are removed to its original condition, meaning the bare earth. Mulch it, put in vegetation, whatever, but take out the bricks. He thought that was a wonderful idea. He says, because right now he's paying somebody a whole lot of money to haul a lawnmower up there to mow, before he put the thing in, about 100 square feet of grass. He said, I was looking for something maintenance-free. And I said, well, you've killed everything off underneath the bricks. So if you put the appropriate layer of mulch on there, and what I suggested to him, you see these in Italy all the time along the roads, those tall, skinny type of things that line the road of green plants, arborvitaes or whatever. Put those in, you put up a natural barrier so those on the patio in the legal part of the yard would have the privacy. So that's a wonderful idea. And I said, I have just the group for you to help you with it, Project Plant. He says, give me their number. So we agreed that that would be a good course of action. Of course, we'll need to clear that by code to make sure we get the right spots so the bricks are out of the right of way. So for that reason, he says he needs a little time. I would suggest that, and I will move, that we table this evening to give him ample opportunity to get that done. Still keeps it on the books for us in case he doesn't follow through with what we talked about today. I have full confidence he will, but that way we wouldn't have to start over at square one. So I would move that we table 5125.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to table 51-25. Are there any comments or questions on the motion to table? Member Reisner.
I don't think we need to table it. I would rather this just simply go forward, and if the property owner comes through with what he promises to do, then the law director doesn't have to proceed to court. But if he doesn't, this will be there as a tool in the toolbox to use to make sure that he does. So I don't see how it really helps the situation to table it.
Member Swank?
If we would continue through, we would eventually get to third reading and have to take a vote.
That's right.
And assuming that this takes place and we vote no to give him his request, that's just a little odd. Part of our conversation today was the ability of the city government to work with the citizens of Athens. And I just think tabling it and just putting it aside and let somebody doing what they have agreed to do, it just, after a period of time, disappears. But to go to a second reading and the third reading and have to take a vote, it just, not quite as clean. I understand what you're saying, but I was very impressed with the reaction I got today. And I think in the long run, what we're trying to do here is deliver the message that the days of building the Space Needle without a variance and then asking for it to stay there are over. Just seems more of a conciliatory thing to me, and then therefore the suggestion for the tabling.
Any other comments or questions on the motion to table? City Administration, any thoughts? Members of the public? So specifically to the motion to table, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Nay.
4-1, I believe we have approval to table. Thank you. So 51-25 is tabled. We now move on to ordinances for first reading. Ordinance 52-25 is an ordinance authorizing the 2025 Street Paving and Repairs Project, number 385, introduced by Councilmember Spielness.
Thank you. We discussed this in committee, and as we do every year, we have to look at street paving and repairs. So this is a proposed ordinance to do that. Section 1, the Service Safety Director is hereby authorized to accept bids and enter into contracts with the lowest and best bidder for 2025 Street Paving and Repairs Project 385. Section 2, 2025 Appropriation Ordinance 115-24 is hereby amended by appropriating from the unappropriated balance the following sums: $400,000 to Street Fund 220 TC 500 and $300,000 to State Highway Fund 225 Transaction Code 500, and increasing the total appropriations by said amounts at $700,000. Okay, so the Service Safety Director is hereby authorized to expend up to $700,000, $400,000 from Street Fund 220 Transaction Code 500, and $300,000 from State Highway Fund 225. So the city has put together a list of streets and has reviewed them. Is there any changes from what we talked about last week? Okay.
Member Swank?
I was asked by a resident today about that list. Where can one find that list of proposed? And I know they're ranked and we can get to them, but where is that list? I didn't see it here in the
That's a good question.
documentation.
I can get that list to you. You know, we had the list, I didn't bring the list tonight either, although we read off the list at the last council meeting. But Councilmember Reisner was just raising his hand.
Yeah, I saw it on Facebook, and I think it was the Athens Independent that put the list on Facebook.
Interesting.
Yes, we did.
Is it accurate?
I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, things change around here.
Yeah. But if anybody has any questions, they certainly can inquire with the city.
Yeah, but Facebook is so much easier.
It depends on
And
who
like you
you are.
say, so accurate, truthful.
Any other comments or questions from Member Spielness on this ordinance? Anything to add, Mayor? Members of the public? Okay, 5225 has been read for the first time. Ordinance 53-25 is an ordinance authorizing the auditor to reduce 2025 year-end appropriations, introduced by Councilmember Reisner.
Thank you, Mr. President. The ordinance reads as follows. Section 1, the auditor is hereby authorized to reduce the 2025 appropriations where anticipated receipts are not adequate, and when combined with the carry-forward balance, not sufficient to approve the full appropriation of funds. Section 2, the ordinance shall be in full force and effect at the earliest moment permitted by law upon its passage and approval by the mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Reisner. Any comments or questions on this ordinance? Members of the public? Moving on, ordinance 54-25 is an ordinance amending the 2025 appropriation ordinance 115-24 and authorizing an interfund transfer, introduced by Councilmember Reisner.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Section 1 reads, the 2025 appropriation ordinance 115-24 is hereby amended by appropriating from the unappropriated balance the sum of $500,000 to Special Revenue Fund 228, Transaction Code 600, for transfer and increasing the total appropriations by the same amount. Section 2, the author is hereby authorized to make the following interfund transfer from Special Revenue Fund 288 to ACIC 906, amount of $500,000. Section 3, the appropriation ordinance 115-24 is further amended by appropriating from the unappropriated balance the sum of $500,000 to ACIC Fund 906, Transaction Code 500, for the improvements to the Armory Project Number 313. Section 4, the ordinance shall be in full force and effect upon passage and approval by the mayor.
Thank you, Member Reisner. Any comments or questions on this ordinance? City Administration, members of the public? Ordinance 55-25 is an ordinance authorizing the Service Safety Director to submit an application and enter into a Water Pollution Control Loan Fund, WPCLF, agreement on behalf of the City of Athens, Ohio, for supplemental design and/or construction of wastewater facilities, and designated a dedicated repayment source for the loan and declaring an emergency, introduced by Councilmember Reisner.
Thank you, Mr. President. You've read the title. Let me read the rest. Whereas the City of Athens intends to apply for the Water Pollution Control Loan Funds to complete critical improvements to the city's infrastructure that would allow for future growth, and whereas this updates the authorization provided by Ordinance 144-19, adopted December 16, 2019, and Ordinance 09-24, adopted January 16, 2024, for project number 330, and whereas the Ohio Water Pollution Control Loan Fund requires the government authority to pass legislation for application of a loan and the execution of an agreement, as well as designating a dedicated repayment source. Be it ordained by the Council of the City of Athens, Ohio, Section 1, the Service Safety Director is hereby authorized to apply for a WPCLF loan, sign all documents for, and enter into a Water Pollution Control Loan Fund for planning, design, and/or construction through the Ohio Environmental Protection Agency, OEPA, and once approved, administer through the Ohio Water Development Authority, OWDA, to complete critical improvements to the city's infrastructure that would allow for future growth. Project number 330. Section 2. The dedicated source of the loan repayment will be the sewer fund derived from sewer fees. Section 3. The ordinance shall be an emergency measure necessary for the preservation of the health, welfare, and safety of the residents of the City of Athens in order to meet the loan application timeline of May 15th, and it shall be in full force and effect upon the passage and approval by the mayor. That's it.
Thank you, Member Reisner, and we'll discuss this again under other business here in just a moment. Any comments or questions on this ordinance, city administration, members of the public? Okay, we now move on to announcements and other business, and as mentioned, this important wastewater infrastructure for Richland Avenue, as Member Reisner just indicated, needs to be approved and sent to the EPA by May 15th. So I am asking whether there are 3 members of City Council who are willing to ask to have a special session on May 12th so that we can approve this ordinance at second reading.
I would support that.
I support it.
I support it.
Me too.
Make it unanimous.
Oh, I do, but I'll be out. Go on.
Well, that's all right.
So that was my second question. So we also need 6 members available to vote on suspension. So I'm asking about plans for council members on the 12th. Member Spielness, you'll be away?
I'll be here.
You'll be here, Member?
I'll be in attendance.
Serving dinner? I'll be here.
Okay. Member Reisner?
I'll be here.
Okay. I believe Wood, Jessica, right. Okay.
Just be that.
Thank you all. So we have a request to have a special session on May 12th in order to approve this ordinance.
Will that be before or after the,
Probably before.
okay.
Good question.
No, it will be after because we have the presentation that Jesse Powers is coming.
Oh,
So we'll do it after.
okay.
Okay, we also have a few appointments to review and to vote upon. First, we have a number of appointments to the Environment and Sustainability Commission. I believe Member Clodfelter will introduce these.
You had said that you would be doing that?
Okay,
Sure.
that's fine. I sent it to you, but I can do it.
Well, she needs to make the motions.
Oh, so you need to make the motions for approving these people? Let's start with Sarah Saltzman.
I move that we approve Sarah Saltzman to the city's Environment and Sustainability Commission.
A second?
We have a motion and a second to approve Ms. Salzman. City Council should have her information in your email. This is a student who will be starting a master's at Ohio University in the fall. They have a lot of hands-on work and are excited about joining the Environment and Sustainability Commission. These recommendations came through the commission to the President of Council, myself, and I reviewed them, and now they are going on to City Council for a vote on approval. So any comments or questions on Ms. Salzman? Member Swank.
A couple questions. First question, the Environment and Sustainability Commission is made up of 11 members. One is a city council representative, one is a mayor's representative, and 9 who are appointed by this council. We have 3 before us tonight, correct?
Correct.
Currently, we have 7.
Yes, I can explain that. We thought that, so I'm the city council representative
Right.
for this commission. We thought that we were going to have 3 people stepping down, but then later, we had asked for that one more person step down. So right now, we're filling 3 seats because that was going in a flow and a timeline and everything was good, but we are gonna have to find a fourth person soon.
Well, the reason I asked the question, the website lists 7 current members. And 7 and 3 is 10.
I think that is because, as I said, one person stepped down sort of after our requested timeline for announcements of
Well,
people bowing out.
who stepped down?
I'm not sure I should identify the person tonight. The person is no longer part of the commission.
Well, we can't, we can't, we can't appoint 10 people. 7 are already appointed,
Right?
We-
With the 3 tonight, that'll be 10. That will be under the number.
but there's only 9.
What?
There's only 9 appointed members.
You're saying that the legislation only allows for 9?
Yes, sir. So my suggestion would be to send this back to the Sustainability Commission to either rank order these, or for that person who's stepping down to tender their resignation, because it is now, we have 7 listed on here.
Is one of the people on that list Megan Jennings?
Yes,
That is the mayor's representative.
yes.
And thus,
She's one of the 11.
as am I. Wow, and they're, well, that's interesting.
It's bad math. So my suggestion would be to send this back. You have enough to do a quorum now, and bring this forward at the next business meeting with the clean slate that we can appoint 3 people.
Okay.
That would be my suggestion.
Does that require a second?
So we have a motion.
Committee, or what do you do?
No, that need to come back at our next business meeting, once we've cleared up, because there are 7 clearly listed here.
I believe there was an email from the chair.
Yes.
The commission will be
who had
meeting
stepped
this
down, but
Wednesday, so I could bring it up then.
And then we could do this on the 19th.
As a point of procedure, do we have a motion on the floor already?
We do have a motion, thank you, Member Reisner, to approve Sarah Salzman.
You've got a motion and a second.
And a second to approve Sarah Salzman.
So do we proceed with the motion, or is it withdrawn?
Well, there's a motion and a second.
Yeah?
So either we need to proceed with that motion, or they can withdraw their motions.
I would withdraw the motion so that one person doesn't have an advantage over the others if this has to be rank ordered.
The first motion has been rescinded, pulled back. Is the second? Who was the second?
Oh, I'm sorry, I got out
That's
of
all
it
right,
because
yeah,
I was
I'm
looking to see Megan Westervelt and Sean Pierce both resigned. So I don't know.
Oh, I was looking for that too.
Yeah.
Okay. So, do you have the list up? Megan Westerveld and Sean Pierce have resigned. Member Swank, are they in your list of 9?
Yeah, Sean Pierce is.
Okay, I believe he's a graduating senior,
Yes.
Okay.
And he's resigned.
so he's resigned. And we have that communication from the chair of the Environment and Sustainability
So
Commission.
so basically, the website's not updated.
Right.
That's correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So I think we're okay
Okay.
to go forward, but we're going to go back and start again since you
let's just
rescinded
erase everything
your
and
motion. Member Clodfelter, please.
I would like to move that we approve the nomination of Sarah Saltzman to the city's Environment and Sustainability Commission.
And we had a second already, which I don't think was,
Well, he can say
he
it
can say it again.
just for the
I'll second.
procedure.
Okay, Member Reisner has a second. Now we are discussing Sarah Salzman. Member Swank.
Are you recommending Sarah Salzman as the student representative?
Yes, I believe so. I don't remember that there's another one.
Well, the other 2 are students also.
Yeah, all 3 of these are students.
I think that's a question for the chair, not for me as the city council member on that commission.
Well, one of these 3 has to be nominated as the student representative.
I don't know what the plan was of the commission for that. We did not discuss it in our last meeting.
So maybe it needs to go back to the commission to figure out what they want to do. Because it says the makeup of the commission,
I have it in front of me.
yeah,
9 to be appointed by Athens City Council, of which at least 6 members shall be residents of the city, 3 members may reside outside the corporate limits, and 1 shall be an Ohio University student. 1 member shall be a representative of Athens City Council, and 1 member shall be a representative of the mayor.
Thank you.
So my hearing of that, Law Director Eliason, is not that one has to be appointed as the student representative, but that one must be a student. And we
Yes.
have
Yes.
3 that are students, so I think we're covered under, without officially designated, this individual is the appointed student. By the letter of the law, we're satisfying that student representation.
I
Is
think
that
so,
correct?
because 1 shall be a student when you do.
Member Swank, any comments on that interpretation?
No, and so which leads to my second point. I have a little concern about the balance on the committee. No, we have 9 members, and a third of them are students, 2 of which are seniors this year, this coming year. And I'm just wondering, going forward, are we going to be in the same boat next year, replacing these people when they move on and leave Athens?
We the commission members and myself, when I was there as the city council representative, discussed that and decided that we would like the energy and the good ideas of the students, even if we would have more students this time than usual. And then after, you're right, 2 of them would probably just be there for 1 more year, though 1 is considering staying at Ohio University for graduate school. But assuming that they both left after 1 year, then that would give us more room for community members. And this year, we did not get very many requests to join from community members.
Good, that last part's very important. Thank you.
Okay, so we're now at discussing the motion to appoint Sarah Salzman to the Environment Sustainability Commission. Any additional comments from City Council, City Administration, members of the public? All those in favor of appointing Ms. Salzman to the Environment Sustainability Commission signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Ms. Salzman is appointed. Next, we move on to Morgan Snyder. You also have Ms., I believe, Schneider's documents in your email. Same system. Is there a motion, or actually I'll let Ms. Gladfelter handle that.
I move that we approve Morgan Snyder as a member of the city's Environment and Sustainability Commission.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to approve Morgan Schneider for the commission. Comments or questions on this possible appointee? City Administration, members of the public. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. And Ms. Schneider is appointed. And finally, the third appointee.
I move that we approve Nolan Arendt as a member of the city's Environment and Sustainability Commission.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve Nolan Arendt for the commission. Comments or questions on Mr. Arendt, I believe? City Administration, members of the public. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Mr. Arendt is appointed to the Environment and Sustainability Commission. I appreciate the service of these students and community members. Thank you for that process. We now move on to an appointment for the Community Relations Commission.
Thank you, President Crowell. I'd like to move that we add Ali Mzan and approve her application to join the Athens Community Relations Commission.
Second.
Thank you. Ali has been active with the commission since she attended the Strong Cities Network luncheon last May of 2024 and has attended recent Community Relations Commission's meetings, and she has a background in education and as well as environmental advocacy and has been very enthusiastic about joining.
Excellent. Any additional comments or questions about Ali Mizan? City Administration, members of the public. All those in favor of appointing Ali Mizan to the Community Relations Commission signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Congratulations, Ms. Mizan. And again, we appreciate the work from the public in these volunteer positions. Mayor Patterson, did you have something to?
I would like to add, I know this is unusual, but to communications, I did pull up the email regarding the repaving project that has the streets on it, so if you'll allow me to just briefly go through these. I know that in looking at this, it was sent to the Chair of Transportation, or well, it was Councilmember Spellness, you chair that Transportation Committee? Okay, so it was sent to you. I just pulled it up, so I'll just read it since it was brought up. The proposed streets are portions of Columbus Road, portions of Schaefer, Mill Street, Raritan Terrace, Miller, Armory, and Lloyd, and the proposed additional that are being looked at. Again, no decision has been made on these. A lot is going to depend on the bid as this goes out to bid when approved by council. Will be Mary, Church, Montrose, Ondas, Della, portions of Mulligan, portions of Longview. I will resend this if you want me to Clerk of Council and to Councilmember Spellness, but that's basically what the email has on them, is the list of streets.
Thank you, Mayor. Any other announcements or other business? Seeing none, we move on to an opportunity for citizens to speak on legislative items and city services not covered on tonight's agenda. Hello, Ms. Abel. Thanks for being here.
Hello. Mary Abel, 48 Strathmore. I just want to say thank you to one of our city services. Every year when we have graduation and students move out, we have an inordinate amount of materials and trash that are on the streets. And I must say, this weekend, they were out there working in the rain. When I went down Mill Street, Congress Street, traditional areas, and today, when I went down Congress and some of those streets, it was totally amazing. It was the least amount of trash and refuse that I have seen after graduation in many years. So, Mayor, I hope you will convey that, because it really made a difference in how the city looks. And I think many of us appreciate that.
Ms. Abel, I will absolutely do that, so thank you. If I may, thank you. I know that our crews were out there working hard all weekend long to include other things that they have to take care of, manage, like sewer backups and things of that nature. But I have to also commend Rumpke. Rumpke did an outstanding job of putting out extra dumpsters and running around the clock to make sure that they were being picked up. And when asked about whether there were individuals, you know what the term is, but jumping into the dumpsters and pulling stuff out and ripping bags open, which leads to stuff being strewn all over the place, that they were so efficient with the removal of those dumpsters and the large amount of debris that gets left behind, that there was very little of that taking place as well. So, but I will, of course, absolutely share that with our street workers.
Yes, thank you so much for commenting, Ms. Abel. I'll add that the city is probably aware that we had a very robust sort of community collection prior to COVID, and it did take a few years to get that same sort of enthusiasm back. But we had a really fantastic graduate student at the Voinovich School take on some of the lead this year. Sam McAvoy was one of the leaders of the Athens Move Out Community Coalition, and really supported by Ohio University Campus Recycling and Zero Waste, Dalton Neese and Mark Call. Again, working with many community partners, including Restore, including Habitat for Humanity, including Rural Action, Maria Bonner at Rural Action. And this group has been meeting since last fall to arrange the pickup sites you probably saw around town for people who want to donate their furniture or other items to the community. And rain is always a big problem with that. It's hard to get the mattresses and things like that in the rain. But there were several more of those drop-off spots this year than last year. And I think I haven't gotten a full report, but I'm sure that was a big part. And Rumpke's at all those meetings too. So it's really a great group of people getting together to try to not only make the city clean, but also to get that material to somebody who can use it. So it's a really great efforts. But thank you for those comments. Okay, we now are moving into executive session, and there will be a roll call here for entering into executive session to discuss pending litigation. As usual, we will need to close the door, and we will reopen the door and reopen city council meeting before we adjourn. Is there anything else I need to do there? So I think
Well-
we'll have a roll call.
You'll have to say who you want to come in to.
Oh, and is it usually me, or is it a member of?
Person who makes the motion.
Okay, so I need a motion to enter into, Member Swank?
I move that council move into executive session, all members of council present, the law director, and the mayor for discussion of pending litigation.
Thank you.
Seconded.
We have a motion and a second to enter into executive session for the aforementioned reason, and we will do a roll call vote. Member Spelness?
Aye.
Member
Yes.
Reisner?
Aye.
Swank?
Aye.
Member McCary?
Aye.
Clodfelter?
Aye.
Do you get to vote, Law Director? Okay, so we will be closing the door. We will stop this and then enter an executive session. Thank you for attending this evening, and you're welcome back after the executive session. Thank you.